Well, I'm up at my dad's place again this morning, and we're going to do a little bit of work on my 830 industrial, but I got to show you this real quick. A few weeks ago, I posted a quick little short of me and my dad hanging a big beam on the side of his hay barn right here, but this is what the deal was. I guess my dad saw the lean-to that me and my brother built on his place out in Missouri, and he just had to have one of his own. The thing that's nice about a big old lean-to like this is it's both heated and cooled. You've got heat in the summer and nice cool air in the winter time. No, but in all seriousness, this does do a really good job of keeping all the elements off of the equipment, and when you have a lot of projects, having a place to store them is a necessity. I don't know if you can tell by the scale of this thing, but from the ground down here up to there is about 9.5 feet. From the ground over here up to the top right there on the side of the barn, I think is, well, it's a 412 pitch, so whatever that is. I think from down here to back there is 18. No, it can't be 18. Yeah, 16 feet or something like that, because I think these 2x10s that he has for their roof trusses, they're not really trusses, but the roof beams are 2x10s. So anyway, not bad. This will give us a lot of outdoor covered storage space, and it's tall enough that we can just pull a tractor in. Can't really see, let me zoom out here. It's tall enough from the ground down here to up there that we can pull basically all of our tractors in without worrying about the exhaust pipes, hitting the beams there. I mean, you got tons of height here you can pull in this way. Anyway, really nice addition, and I've got to give my dad credit for being 80 years old. I'm still amazed that he gets out and builds stuff like this. So I'm really impressed. I helped him do, I was planning on helping him do quite a bit, but all I helped him do was hang that one beam up there. He did the rest. And he got it done just in time because it is getting cold. It's about 20 degrees right now, but the sun is up. During the nights here, it's getting down in the teens, and it's just going to get colder and colder. So, anyway, I just wanted to show you that. I was pretty proud of him for doing it, and I'm sure he's happy to get that done. Now, for today's video, this is something that I actually started several months ago, and I haven't really posted much on it, but let me show you what we got. So in the barn behind me, you can see my 830. We've done, a lot of videos with this over the last year. I mean, it's been my biggest project. And I've been having problems after problems. A lot of successes too, so it's kept me motivated and kept me going, and I love the tractor. But most recently, I did have some problems that I think I'm gonna get fixed today. So I'm not sure exactly how this video is gonna be pieced together, because when I started the video, I had no idea what was going on. I just knew I had a big problem, and I think I've solved it. So we'll see how this goes together. But the 830, we've got to get this thing pulled out of the barn and into the heated shop, so that then we can get working on that out of the cold. We've got a big logging chain hooked up here, and my dad's grabbing the 3020. We're going to pull it out of here, and then I think we're just going to pull start it, and then I will just drive it straight into the shop. That's always easier than trying to push it. So, he got that tractor started. So, let's get this ready. fifth gear. I got the clutch back. Okay, I'm gonna pull the compression release back. Build up oil pressure. Let's give it some throttle. Even in the cold.
Yeah.
I don't think that an R would start up that easily.
Oh no. No, that turns over and over and
As
over.
soon as this turns over one compression stroke with fuel, pop.
Yeah. They made some changes.
Yeah.
Somebody told me what it was, and I can't remember, but
Well, this is a little bit of a different video. This is actually kind of like a public service announcement. Not really a public service announcement, but more of like, Joe has a question and I want to see who out there has the answer. I ran into a problem with the pony motor on my 830. Surprise, surprise! If you haven't guessed, I am getting really sick of working on that 830's pony motor. I love the tractor, but the pony motor I hate. Well, I don't hate it. It's kind of like a love-hate relationship. And right now it's causing me problems, so I'm getting frustrated with it. But let me show you what we got. Okay, I wish I had had my camera running last night when I took this apart. I was going to do some troubleshooting because what happened was I was trying to start the engine a couple weeks ago, and it started, but it wasn't running very well. It was belching out a lot of smoke out of the exhaust pipe here, and the engine died. And then I started cranking it over again. Let me go to this other side. And oil, this is the intake manifold, And this is the exhaust. It's also an exhaust manifold. But this right here is where the exhaust comes out and connects to the exhaust pipe and muffler and on its way out. Anyways, as I was cranking it over, oil started dripping out of the manifold right here, meaning that somehow oil was getting into the top end of the engine, and basically the pistons, I mean, I'm fortunate, I guess, that I didn't hydrolock things, but anyway, oil is somehow getting into the top end of the engine, and then it was basically just pumping it out of the exhaust pipe. And you can see, there's oil, once oil gets into some rusty metal, it just kind of leaches and seeps. But anyway, so somehow oil is getting up into the top end of the engine. I had no idea what was going on. So last night I came out here into the shop and I started troubleshooting, and I noticed that around, this is the air inlet, so this is your oil bath air cleaner on a pony motor. Air comes in through these little holes, goes down through the oil, and then it it bubbles through the oil, and then it comes up through the center stack clean, now that it's passed through the oil, and into the engine. And I noticed that oil was up around this air inlet. This should all be dry. And then I undid this and I took it off, and I don't know if you can see. Oh, you kind of can, as I'm looking in the camera. But I have no depth perception. But right there, you can see it's kind of shiny and oily. And if I put my hand in here, it's all oily inside of my air inlet. And I thought, that's weird. Somehow oil is getting up in here. And I thought the only place it can be coming from is the oil bath air cleaner. And I took this cup off of the bottom of the oil bath air cleaner, which, as you can see, is full to the brim, should not be that full. I got this filled full of clean oil. Now let's stick this up in place. And not only is this full, but probably half a quart of oil just poured out. So, I mean, this is somehow oil has been getting pumped into my oil bath air cleaner. And the only place I can think it's coming is through this inlet right here, this breather. And this is just basically the crankcase breather for the engine. And somehow oil is getting forced up here, or maybe there's some sort of something is someplace is clogged and it's causing a vacuum. It's sucking oil up. I do not know what's going on. So that solves the question of where that oil is coming from. It's coming into the engine along with that fresh charge of air through the carburetor down into the combustion chamber. But it doesn't solve the question of why is the oil bath air cleaner, which is connected to the crankcase through a vent, why is that getting filled full of oil? And is it happening when, I think it's got to be oil from the pony motor crankcase, because the oil is not connected to anything on the diesel engine. However, it could be while the diesel engine is running, it's causing a vacuum or something. It's pushing oil through pressure. I don't know. Somehow oil is getting dumped into the oil bath air cleaner. How? So in the meantime, let's do a quick compression check on the pony motor, find out what the compression of each one of these 4 cylinders is. Hopefully, man, I was really terrified that maybe I broke a ring or something, and that's how the oil was getting up in here. But I don't think that's a problem. I think it's definitely this. But I do want to just do a quick compression check just to verify that, I do have compression, good compression, and equal compression in each one of these pistons. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go ahead and check those. This is the cheapest engine compression tester on earth, and so there's no pressure in there, but the dial is still registered at 25. This is not going to be the most accurate reading, but it should give me a comparison test between 1, 2, 3, and 4 cylinders Hopefully all 4 cylinders have the same compression. Let's find out. Okay, here is the second cylinder, which I think is actually cylinder number 4, but let's test that one. Oh, significantly higher. Significantly higher. That's 105. Now we're on this back cylinder right here. So now I'm hooked up to cylinder number 2, I think. So this is the last cylinder I'm checking. This one is a little bit harder because the steering mechanism is kind of in the way of that. Is kind of blocking access to that spark plug hole. But I think I got it. Let's see what this one does. I think my 6-volt battery is dying out. Oh, see, that one's good too. It's 95, so it's the same as that other back one. I'm gonna go check that front one again. It's possible I didn't have it tight all the way. Here's a redo of this first cylinder I tested. I wasn't sure if I had it tight all the way down there in the spark plug hole. My battery is definitely dying. Oh, see, that was better. Now it's up to about 100. Well, that's good news that the engine seems to have good compression, and it's pretty consistent from cylinder to cylinder, so I guess I'll take that as a win. Anyway, I don't know if you can actually see the magnitude of oil that dumped out of that because, well, that was dry down there, but now it's just sopping wet. All the oil, when it dumped out of that air breather right here, when it dumped out of that, it just poured all over the backside of that engine, and then it just ran. Gravity did its thing, and it just pulled all of that oil back here. It pooled up here, and then it drained off of the off of these gear covers all the way down. And look at that! Look how big that oil mess is. Now some of that up here, like all of that back there, that's old oil. But this right here, all of this is all new oil. It's probably half a quart full. And when you think about it, this thing only takes probably like half a cup of oil. It's crazy. So here's another thing mixed in with this oil. Let's see right here. You can see this. Bees or some sort of animal, they go and they get chunks of leaves and then they pack it into little holes. And I'm not sure exactly why they do that. But this oil, oh, that's like a... Anyway, there's some there. There was probably, there's more down here. When that oil poured out, I had, quite a few of those in there. And let's go dump this out. Anyway, so that also leads me to believe that someplace inside the engine, some orifice or some passage is clogged. And that's what's causing... Oh man, look at that. Whew. This was clean. I've got a problem. Look at that. The plot thickens. It wasn't just a little bit that was sucked in there. It was a ton. Look at that. You guys, this was clean. I cleaned all this out. You know what I need to do? I need to take that off. Because An animal has definitely made a nest inside my air cleaner. Nothing super obvious from the get-go, but oh, look at that. I don't know if you can see that. I think the whole outside of this thing must have been just packed full of that bee house. I'm going to take this off and I'm going to take it home and soak it and clean it. See if I can get all that junk out. So I brought the breather home, and the way that this air breather works is air for the pony motor is sucked in through all of these holes up here, and it goes down and it passes through this passageway right here, and then it passes into, you got to remember this oil cup is sitting right here filled with a certain amount of oil. The air passes through there and bubbles up through the oil, and then as the air and the oil go up into this metal mesh, then the oil is separated out and the clean air passes up through the center of that metal mesh filter and, and out here and into the pony motor. This right here is your inlet to your pony motor. Well, if you look up in here, hopefully you can see just how much all the way around this whole air breather unit, this is just packed full of insect house and insect debris. And I'm thinking that maybe the reason that oil was getting sucked from the top of the engine through this crankcase breather down, and it was just filling up, was just because the engine is trying to suck air here. And if it can't suck air because this air inlet passageway is completely closed off because of the insect, mess, it's going to be sucking air from someplace. It's not going to be running very well. It's going to be like choking and starving for air. And so it might just be, this was the only passage for air. So air would be getting sucked through here. And when air is getting sucked through here, through this breather, it's taking with it a quantity of oil. And over time, then that oil level that's getting sucked in here, that oil level is just going to go up and up inside of this. And that's what I had, I think. So it could be that this whole problem is solved just by cleaning out that insect mess that's down in between the outer case of the air breather and this internal filter unit. That's the air inlet passage. So let's get that cleaned out so that this engine can breathe properly, and that might fix our problem. I think that this will actually also help the pony motor run a lot better and obviously smoke a lot less. Okay, I got that all cleaned out, and now you can see up inside there, it's all clean, and I cleaned the outside of this pretty good. So this is all of the junk that I got out of there. It's quite a bit. So I think that this, I really do, after cleaning all of this, I think that this is probably my issue. That also explains why I've never been able to adjust my carburetor and get my carburetor tuned, because the engine was always starving for oxygen because I think it was having to suck everything it wanted through the vent tube, through this, and anyway. So I'm really kind of hopeful and I'm optimistic that this is going to solve the problem, but time will tell. Before I go too much deeper into troubleshooting, I'm going to go put this back on the tractor, start it up, and see if it'll work. Oh, I did buy some new spark plugs, so I'll put new spark plugs on it as well too. So anyway, I think this is hopefully good news. Well, I couldn't leave well enough alone. I decided that since I had the carburetor off, I was going to go through it and just make sure that everything was clean. Mainly, I wanted to go through and make sure that this tube, I think it's not the tube, it's kind of like a jet. It goes, I think this is the idle jet, and it feeds, believe it or not, this is hollow, And there's two tiny little holes on the end there. Probably can't see them very well. But this feeds all the way down through and into this jet that's at the bottom of the float bowl. I think this is for your idle circuit, and I had to make sure that when I squirt carb cleaner in here, that it's free and clear all the way out here to these holes, and it is. So if you watch, I'll squirt some carb cleaner in here. Most of the carb cleaner is going to squirt right back out, but you should hopefully be able to see some. Oh, you should be able to see some pop right out of there. Hold on a second. I saw some at the beginning. There it goes. Anyway, it's clear and it's free. So that's good news. And then all of the other passageways from, I'm going to take this out so it doesn't break. From where that needle sticks in here, it goes up, or actually it goes, there's a needle valve right here that controls, I think, your idle. And then it goes down into here, and then on the back side of this butterfly valve, can you see down in there? You can see that little brass slot. That right there, I think, is your idle passageway where the fuel enters into the engine when the engine is idling. So had to make sure that was clean. So I think everything is done. Everything is nice and clean. So, and that's really good. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this back together. And I'm hopeful now that when we put this carburetor back on the tractor, when we are tuning it, that we will actually be able to tune it and get the carburetor to run nice and smooth. So a few things. I've had this container here at the end of the fuel line for a couple weeks now, just to verify that fuel's not leaking out of this. So my shutoff valve on my tank, on my little pony tank, it's working fine. I can go ahead and I can put the carburetor back in place, hook this up, and then I think we can actually go ahead and start it. I've also decided to put new spark plugs in here, just because these ones have been so coated in oil. They'd probably still work, but one thing that I did decide to do was I bought these Champion J8Cs. I read online that these were supposed to be a little bit shorter than these Autolite 216s. However, when you line up, you know, the gasket surface down here, they're really not. They're the same height, if you can see that. So anyway, the reason I did that is because this plug, this back plug right here on, I think that's the number 2 cylinder, it is pretty close to the power steering pump, or that's not the pump, that's the power steering box. And anyway, I just don't want arcing to go across. I have noticed that these boots, even though they're pretty new, they do, I did see some sparking between the end of this boot and the end of that power steering box. So anyway, just something to be aware of, but let's get this off. I did gap these new plugs to 25 thousandths of an inch. That's what the manual said. So I didn't even have to really adjust them. They came right out of the box, ready to go. But I checked it. In one of my previous videos, I mentioned that I wanted to check and make sure that everything was timed properly. And so here we are on this is the crankshaft flywheel. And you can see there's that mark right there. And it's pretty well in line with the mark on the flywheel. So that's good. This is all in balance and things like that. So we do have the clutch, but we can dig into the clutch on another day. Anyway, everything here is all hooked up and new spark plugs in it. I'm leaving the air breather off for now, and the vent tube, I'm leaving all of that off so I can see what's going on here. All we got to do is throw a battery in it, turn on the gas, and see how this thing runs. Hopefully that pony starts up. It's probably going to smoke a bit.
But that was just left over.
Yeah. I think that's
And I think after it cleaned the oil out, I don't think it was smoking. The little engine, was it?
It was smoking pretty good, but I forgot I was going to come and check stuff, but I just got too excited and wanted to see if how much power it had.
No,
it turned this over no problem.
No, didn't even hardly lug down.
I think that the carburetor seems to be set about right. Should we here? Let's try.
Whatever you did,
I was pulling it slowly.
Yeah,
and I gotta pull it more quickly. What I could also do is I could adjust this so that it engages a little bit later, so that then as I pull this out slowly, it engages with this before the clutch engages. And that's kind of maybe what I need to do.
Because when you put it and it started
when I pulled it out
slow, this wasn't turning, but it wasn't. You had to pull it fast, and then it didn't grind. It just took right off.
And it snapped in. And that's fine. Well, the pony motor seemed like it started up nice and good, and that is by far the strongest it's ever run. And when I engaged it with the big diesel engine, that turned that big engine over no problems. So really happy about that. It was blowing a lot of oil, but I mean, it does need to clean all of the oil that got, put into the exhaust pipe. It's got to burn all that out. So hopefully as I run this more, it'll get clearer and clearer. If not, then I guess I'll just have to keep my eye on the oil level. It is funny though, because once this thing starts running, it's ingrained in you that you just want to go and try starting the big engine. But so I didn't come over here and I didn't mess around with trying to tune everything, because it seemed like it was running okay. And there wasn't oil that was coming out of this vent over there. So I'm really pretty confident that the problem really was clogged up breather. Clogged up breather. And with that fixed, I'm comfortable saying that that problem is done. One thing that you probably did notice when I was trying to start it is this starting gear ground with the ring gear on the flywheel a little bit as I was trying to start it. I've got to do a little bit of adjustment with the clutch in here so that then this starting gear, before it starts spinning, it actually has a chance to engage with the teeth on the flywheel. Because right now, you pull this out and it gets just about to the point where it's going to engage, and then it starts spinning. So until I do need to get that adjusted, but everything else seems like it did just fantastic. So I'm sure you've noticed that the fenders on that tractor are beat up pretty badly, and as well the nose cone is punched in a little bit. I mean, it's been worked, but looking over here, I've been able to collect some body parts. So back here is my collection of body panels. And you remember I did a video a little while ago about one of my dad's neighbors that had these hoods and stuff kicking around from a 70 and from an A. So we've still got that stuff. I need to sell it and get rid of it. But right here, I was fortunate enough to get all of the body panels. I've got a hood, 2 big fenders right here, and a nose cone. I've even got a front axle assembly from an 820. And I was just looking at this because I wonder if my dad's tractor has that big weight on the front. We'll have to look at the underside of that and see if I've got extra weights. Anyway, right here I have the front end and the frame to an 820. So if I ever did want to convert that over to a curved front axle and things like that, I don't see why I ever would, but I do have these parts here. But this is the stuff that I'm really excited about. This, I need to move this. Whew, it's heavy. Okay. These 2 fenders right here. This is what I've been looking forward to showing you. This is the left rear fender, and this is the right rear fender for an 820. And as you can see, they're a little bit banged up, but they are in much better shape than the ones that are on my 830 right now. So this will make doing body work and things like that much easier. I'll pound this out. I'll get it as straight as I can. I'll use a little bit of body filler probably to get it smoothed out, weld up a few holes that are drilled in it. But really, I think this will be a much better starting point for body work than what I've got that are all smashed in. So, and then right here, this is my grill. Like I say, this is still from an 820, so it's not gonna, the nose cone won't fit on it because, well, it would fit on it, but anyway, the nose cone on an 820 has that step in it. And when they went to the 30 series, then they got rid of that step and kind of made it more streamlined. But this mesh grill piece should fit right in, and it's in much better shape than the one I've got. It's a little bit dinged up right there, but one of the guys in our club has offered to let me use. He has the grill tools, so I'm gonna have to borrow those from him and get that cleaned up. That's what we've got to look forward to. Probably not going to do a whole bunch of videos of me doing bodywork just because I don't really know what I'm doing. And it's going to be pretty boring, but I'll try to keep you up to speed with what I've got going on. And then once I start painting these, I guess I'm going to have to start painting the rest of the tractor too. Anyway. It's just a little sneak peek of what's to come. So, see you guys later.